We're live. Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Another Friday. So I'm going to do some acoustic finger picking tonight. Just a little disclaimer. Hope everybody's doing good, but I'm a little under the weather. And I might go into fits of coughing. Trying to minimize it as much as I can. So please bear with me as we get through it tonight. Is anybody out there? Usually we've got some comments going on off the top. Hope everybody's well. Hopefully the chat is working tonight. I wonder what's up. Not seeing any chat stuff. So hopefully you can hear me okay and everything's going good. Yeah, if we can't get that chat going, I wonder if I did something wrong tonight getting this going. Check 1 2 1 2. It seems like maybe my is that going? Check 1 2. Let's see. I can't really get to the settings here. All right, I don't know why the chat's not working, and hopefully this is working right now. And hopefully you're seeing this and hearing this. And hopefully the audio's coming through. Okay. I feel like usually it's a little more, it's a little louder than that. Usually I'm hearing from somebody right now, hearing from all you guys. Very strange. I don't know what's different tonight about this. Anyway, I'm just going to, because I have no idea what's happening. Well, maybe give me 1 sec and I'm just going to log in on another browser and just see what this looks like on the other side. And perhaps there'll be some comments there that I can address. So let's see. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, for some reason, the comments are not coming through on my browser, but you guys, I can see you guys up here. So let's just get from the beginning. All right. Jersey Red, Dennis, Jeff. Oh, it's Friday the 13th. I forgot about that. What's up, Steve? Elias, of course. Peter. Peter's asking, he checked out the Burnin' For You lesson on guitar tricks. He's wondering how old I was back then. That was back in my rocking around LA days. I was definitely well out of high school, though. Thanks for the kind words. HH, what's up? Good to see you as always. Craig, what's up? Andy, Erica, excellent. Nikki the dog, of course. Theodore, and Jody 1. Kevin, what's up? Thanks so much. Craig and Russ, who else we got here? Jim Gregory, of course, tuning up the acoustic. Excellent. Igor from Mexico City, excellent. I apologize for looking off the screen. I got my second monitor here. Yeah, James Cody and Zane, all right. Excellent. King 50, North Nevada, excellent. Okay, cool. I know you're here. Okay, so as always, expand the description below this video. There'll be some tabs. I'm just going to slide down here a little bit. There we go. And let me just minimize this. Apologies for just sort of rolling with it right now. I want to be able to see my tabs and the comments as we go. All right. Just resize this over here. Should be able to see that. All right. Thanks for your patience, everybody. And of course, if I go into fits of coughing, I apologize in advance. I'm going to try. I'm all kind of got, the throat coat going and got some lozenges here. So I'm trying to avoid that with all costs. All right. At all costs. Excellent. Yeah, HH, sick for 12 days, not COVID. Same thing here. I tested negative, and my whole family's had it. I'm the last one to get it, and this is kind of a brutal one where it just turns into a bad cough, and it just keeps going. All right. Yeah, this is my giant Used to be coffee when I had little ones. Now it's throat coat right now. Okay. Expand the description below the video. I have the link to the tabs. Okay. And so finger picking workout, we do it on the acoustic. Obviously, it lends itself really well to acoustic, but don't shy away if electric's the only guitar that you have, because these are still skills that you can use on the electric, albeit a little more challenging. The strings are a little bit closer together, but definitely optimized for the acoustic. Just a warm-up exercise 1. Going to hit you with a bar chord right off the top. These are bar chords. Okay, we're going to start with a C bar chord in the 8th position. Right, that's a root 6 bar chord, and just alternate between the thumb on the low 3, and then I've got the ring, middle, and index coming down the top 3. So it sounds like this. Just let that all ring out. I'm going to move down to an A minor 5th position. Okay. Same root 6 bar chord shape, but this time minor, so you're not going to use the middle finger. And then F to G. Okay, we try to do that in time. If you got a metronome, all the better, right? But to warm up. Now, a little bit of instruction on your plucking hand, okay? Notice where I've got it anchored, sort of the top bout of the guitar, coming in at an angle. And, there's a couple ways to do this. A lot of people might anchor their pinky down here to give you some stability, okay? I'm one of those guys that floats it. I recommend floating it. I actually had a student this week develop some problems kind of in the hand a little bit here from just sort of anchoring, and I guess not relaxing maybe as much, because that's really the key here, is to stay as relaxed as you can when you do this kind of stuff. If you keep tensing up over and over and over again, that's sort of where the problems can start to develop a little bit. So we want to just try and relax as much as you can, and so that means go as slow as you need to go with these ideas, these examples, these little exercises here. As slow as you need to go is always better, okay? And try to keep as relaxed as you can. Lots of repetition on it, and you'll start to see it flow a little bit better, and you can start to up the tempo a little bit, okay? And start to get a lot faster with it, all right? You'll notice that I've sort of tabbed out on the staff part over top the tabs. There's tabulature, and then there's the staff up top. And I've sort of denoted what finger, like whether to use the thumb or the first, second, third finger on all these exercises, but please take that with a grain of salt. Okay, there's suggested fingerings, but they're not necessarily the fingerings that are the most natural for you. And it's not an exact science here. There is a lot of different ways to get your fingers moving on the different strings. It doesn't have to be strict, okay? And I find myself, once I sort of get used to this technique and being able to do this, I don't even think about it. My fingers just kind of do what need to get done. So just keep that in mind. All right. This is not an end all be all strict finger. It's just a suggestion for the fingering. Okay. Audible Headache, what's up? Thanks, Doug. Appreciate that. HH, what does root 6 bar chord mean exactly? I just mean the root is on the 6th string. And so the lowest string is the 6th string. We number the strings from the top string. I call it the top, even though I know this is kind of confusing because a lot of students think of this opposite, right? Well, this is the top of the guitar. This is the bottom. But I always think the bottom strings are the lower pitched strings, right? And the top strings, or the higher strings, are the higher pitched strings, okay? So that's why we think of the top strings up here, the bottom strings down here. And we number it 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So that low E string is the 6th string. And so that's where the root is for this particular bar chord shape, is on that 6th string. So they call that a root 6 bar chord, right? If I played that C chord with a bar chord here, where it's the 3rd fret of the A string or the 5th string, that's a root 5 bar chord shape. Make sense? All right, Jersey Red, unfortunately, developed the trigger finger on the left-hand ring finger. I have another student that developed that as well. This is guys, so it's common and it's frustrating, and what you need to do is just sort of stop playing or find some workarounds that don't aggravate that kind of thing. But I had a student develop the trigger finger, and he had to stop playing for a couple months, and he you know, kind of had to follow doctor's orders on it. I think he had it on a sling or something like that. I'm really sorry to hear that. Rusty, that's really too bad, and I know how frustrating that can be. I'm sorry about that. Joseph, hands have float around the neck, not grabbing hard right. Just enough pressure. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so look, on the acoustic, when you're talking about all 6 strings and a bar chord shape, you're going to probably have to press down a little bit more than usual. But over time, when your hands become acclimated to the fretboard, okay, and you will find you don't need to have as much pressure as you did before. It was just literally trying to force those fingers in there so that all the notes ring out. And once you kind of get in tune with your fingers acclimated to those shapes on the fretboard, you can start to experiment with what's the least amount of pressure I can put on here so that things can still ring out cleanly. And that's what we're really aiming for. Okay, so good point. All right. Sean Ridley, can you help me understand how to keep track of the time signature with the thumb on the E string? I'm not sure what you mean by that. The time signature with the thumb on the E string. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to. If maybe there's another way that you can ask that question. Oh, never mind. I got it. Okay, good. I'll read ahead. How can I access all your fingerstyle lessons? Harsh asks that. We do these workshops every Friday, and about every 4 weeks, we've been doing these finger picking workshops. So just look at the Guitar Tricks channel on YouTube. All of the old sessions are there, okay? And we should have the tabs are still there. You can download the tabs. Once again, expand the description below the video. You can get to the tabs. We've been doing this. This is number 8. So we've been doing it for about 8 months or so. Really? That long? Maybe not quite that long, but there you go. So yeah, check that out. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, Steve Vai messed up his hand. He had to get an operation. Can I tap? Probably badly. Okay? We're not going to tap on the acoustic tonight. No Spanish fly, right? There we go. Jason from Perth. Welcome, welcome. No problem. All right. Hopefully we're all warmed up with that first one. Let's go to the second exercise. And we've got some chords here that are using sort of the same picking pattern for the first 3 bars. And you kind of have to adapt it a little bit for the last bar. I'm going to see if I can play through it. And we'll talk about it here. So I think it sounds like this. All right, so probably that last one could have been a bit cleaner. Something like that. Starting on an F major 7 chord. So you've got this F triad right here, 3rd fret of the D or 4th string, 2nd fret of the 3rd string, 1st fret of the 2nd string, and then the open high E string. And once again, we get the thumb this time on the 4th string. And you're just assigning each, for this particular case, you're assigning each digit here to a specific string. So I got the index finger on the 3rd string, middle finger on the 2nd, and the ring finger on the top string, and just follow it through. You're going up the chord and then back so kind of a nice little pattern, right? Where it goes up, back down, and then up again, coming down. So then we're going to go to a C shape with just the E in the bass. So we're not going to worry about the A string here. And so it descends nicely from that F to the E. Okay. So that's an open C chord, and it's just the slash means E for the bass note. Okay. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. I'm actually running this through. I've got a pickup underneath the bridge here that was installed, a K&K pickup. and I've got it going through my Axe effects for, some reverb, compression, a little bit of EQ so that I think it sounded nice, hopefully. All right. I'm just trying to ward off a coughing fit, all right? All right. So then the next chord is the D minor 7 add 9. So what you've got is the open D, second fret on the G, first fret of the B. And then you've got the open high E string, okay? And so that's your add 9 right there. So a cool little chord. Then I'm going to come down, thumb on the low string, third fret. Okay, so I've still got the index finger on the G, middle finger on the third, but I'm going to have to come back up with the thumb on the D string. So, okay. Excuse me. These are nasty, nasty ones. Okay. So that's it. A little bit of a challenging twist there on that last bar, but it's all in getting these exercises down a little bit, comfortable with it, and doing the best you can with it. Now, as I always say with all these exercises, they are meant for you to experiment a little bit. So try these ideas with different chord progressions, different chord shapes, okay? But at its very basic, if you were just to work through this throughout the week, and just work on your skills and trying to get it smoother, cleaner, right? That's a great thing as well. But I always encourage the experimentation because you're going to see lots of different ways that you can kind of use these approaches. Does that make sense? Sean, how do you keep from rushing or within a time signature? I think you mean tempo. How do you keep from rushing? That's very challenging, right? So what you need to do is go slow, and you need a time reference. So I recommend a metronome, a steady click, or a drum groove, or something that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, that kind of thing. You want to be locked in with it. And what happens is you need to work on that slowly first. Because if you're trying to do it fast, a lot of times that's what introduces the tempo errors and kind of makes it sound a little bit sloppy. So if you roll the tempo way further down and just really work on restraining yourself, but just hitting everything right where it needs to be hit, you're building that into muscle memory. And with the repetition, what'll happen is that'll start to become inherent in your playing. You'll be able to stay on tempo a little bit better, okay? So, as always, slow speeds, lots of repetition, okay? Excellent questions tonight, everybody. HH, by the way, you know all the notes in the fretboard. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Deciphering and experimenting. All right, that's great news. HH, I love it. Thank you. Yes, Joseph, or backing track. Click, drum groove, backing track. Absolutely. And be honest with yourself on whether you can stay in time or not. Okay. I also find tapping your foot, tapping your leg really helps too, because it's all connected. It's connected to your limbs, right? Harsh is pinky finger never used to pick a string. Previous, well, let's just say this. For me, it's rare. If you're classical guitar finger picker, you will get the pinky involved. It's traditionally the weakest digit out of all of them. So I kind of stay away from it because everything else is so much stronger. But we do work this. I didn't put any exercises in this particular session using the pinky, but previous ones on the Guitar Tricks channel, if you look at any of the other finger picking workshops, I did get that involved where I could. So whatever reason tonight, we didn't do it. All right. Doug's got a question. When it comes to finger picking and moving around to different chords, do you sometimes just add in a 7 and a 9 or maybe 13 to give a different feel? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's really important. Okay. Try the sus, right? Try some different voicings. Try some voicings with open strings. Add extensions. Absolutely. Okay. You know, a lot of times you're handed music and maybe the chords are pretty straightforward, and you want to make it the music hip a little bit, a little hipper is usually what the musicians say, right? So they might throw in some susses or some extended chords that sound really good. Okay, great one. All right, John. Hello, Mr. O. John Carini, what's up? Good to see you, my friend. All right. Exercise 3, melodic progression. This might remind some of you of a certain song. The next couple actually come from, are loosely based on some 80s power ballads, but nevertheless, some great approaches and techniques here. Okay. So, you know, even if you don't know where these songs came from, I think they're pretty cool exercises. First one sounds like this. This is exercise 3. And just using the thumb and the 2 fingers right here. So let's see. One more time. Can't play worth anything tonight. Let's try one more time. All right. That's what I was going for. I have to stop looking at the tab and just play it as I sort of envisioned it. Okay. You got it. Yes. Dickie the dog, you're my man. You know what's up. Not ABBA, surely. That's a good point, Jason. I'm going to grab some ABBA here in some coming weeks and slip it in. Okay. I grew up on that stuff. All right. 7, 9, and maybe 13. HH. So yeah, what Doug means extended chords. Okay. So you've got a C chord. And if you start adding notes onto the C chord, they become these extended chords. So for example, C7, C9, etc. Okay, so you're just adding notes onto a bass triad chord. Okay, and those kind of chords are called extended chords. That's all that sort of Doug is talking about, is just making an adjustment to like let's say just a regular C chord, make an adjustment to it to make it sound a little cooler or experiment a little bit, give it a different feel. I think that's what he's getting at, right? Jason, I love it. Yeah, well, I'm going to find a finger-picked ABBA song maybe or something. I don't know. We'll do it. We'll do it in there. Yes, a little bit of a big stretch right here. You're going to go from the 2nd fret of the D string to the 5th fret of the high string, right? It's not as big a stretch here because you're just going 5 and 7. Oh yeah, but you got to get the 8th fret here. So it's challenging, as you know. I'm not playing it as cleanly as I should be because some of those notes are fretting out. I got to get my fingers up and curled a little bit more. Right, so it is a little challenging. Go slow with this. You've got like a bass. It's called a pedal note. You've got this bass note that you're gonna just hit with your thumb the whole time, and you're playing this melody. But you're also adding in an open string with it. So, right. And then when you go to the B string, you're going to get the B string and the G string there, but same fingers. So you're adjusting. Okay. Same idea off the E minor. So I've got the upper, the E note right here, 2nd fret. And I've got a lot more on the top string. And just the last one goes to the D note, 3rd fret of the B. And then you got to get that. Okay. So yeah, a little bit of a stretch for you, but definitely nothing too crazy. I mean, I'm not going to say it's common, but it's definitely used a lot. That kind of reach, right? Should probably just bring that pinky down. Okay, Mike, can you show everyone a 7 and then possibly a 9 or a 13? Yes, I think I just did, right? So a 7, you take a C chord, right? Let's do it here. 1, 3, 5, right? C is 1, third is E, and the 5th is G. What's the 7th? Okay. The 7th in the C major scale is a B. Okay, so if I add a B note to a C chord, it becomes a C major 7. Okay, so now I've made an extended chord. I've gone from C, which is just C, E, and G. When I add a B to it, it opens up that chord. It's a little bit floatier. It adds an extra note into it, right? Another thing is the C9, okay? This is a C dominant 9, okay? So if you think about the open C7, right? I showed you a C major 7, right? But there's also, that dominant C7th, that bluesy sound, which is not a B, but a B flat added to the chord. So that's where you get this open C7 chord. Now, if we add a D note to the chord, which is the 9, okay, C is 8. If we add D, which is the next note up, the 9, we've got the G up there. Now you've got a dominant 9th chord. Okay, so another example of an extended chord. Hopefully that gives you sort of a ballpark idea of that kind of thing. That's probably a whole other session if we get into that stuff tonight, right? Cool. Erica, if you played the traditional C chord without the first fret, wouldn't it be the same? Yeah, it would. It would be a C major 7, okay? Because you're adding the B note to it. And then you've got the E note, which is already in the chord, right? Okay. Good stuff. All right. Erica, sorry about that. Yeah, that might not be a good example for you with the big stretches. So apologize for that one. But let's move on to exercise 4. And another melodic thing here with some double stops. Okay. Oh, excellent. Jason. Right on, right on. Love it. Yes, it does. Okay. So this one goes like this, and we'll talk about it. Okay. One more time. I like playing that. One more time. Okay. So what we got here is starting off an E chord. And actually this whole progression here is E, A, B, E. Okay, we're just highlighting those chords, all right? Nikki the dog, I wonder if you know where I lifted this from. It is a little Clapton-esque, but that wasn't what I was thinking of, Jody 1. There you go. Jason got it. Jason got it. Jason's on it. That's it. That's what it's from. It's actually from the solo of that song. He does something like that. It's sort of based on this. Okay. So I'm starting out with the 2nd fret of the D, 1st fret of the G, and the low E string. Okay. Together. So I got the thumb on the low string. That's going to hit the bass notes. And I've got the 1st and 2nd finger on the D and G strings. You're kind of plucking those 2 strings at the same time. Okay. Adding the thumb on the first one, letting it ring out. Okay, and then once you've got the 4th fret of the D, 2nd fret of the G, you're going to slide up 2 frets, and then add the 5th fret on the B string and just hit with the same two fingers now going G string, B string, 4 and 5. So. Okay. And then now you're going to take 7th fret of the D, 6th fret of the G, and combine it with the thumb on the open A string. And that gives you A major. It's outlining an A major. And then another stretch here, apologize, but 7th fret of the D going to 4th fret on the G. Okay. And that's going to give you sort of a sus2 sound. Okay, so now we go to the B chord. So check out how I'm grabbing the 4th fret of the D and G and then using my pinky for the root note on the low string. So you could also do it this way with the root on the 5th string, 2nd fret, but I like to stay in this position because we're doing this next lick right here. And I didn't transcribe it with the hammer-ons, but Paul Gilbert does. Okay, I kind of did something different. Yeah, you're right, Jason. He does like completely crank that low E string in there. You don't have to do it on this one, but so we got the 6th fret of the D string, 4th fret of the B string. Okay, and that's back to that's notes out of E major. And so then when you grab the low string and then the open 2 high strings, you basically are outlining a whole E major chord, right? So one more time through. Okay. And Arthur, I play that differently. Absolutely. Like this is just, I'm going off, I didn't consult any tabs. I didn't consult the original recording, just going off memory, playing something based on that idea, okay? So by no means is this accurate tab for that particular song. It's really just a finger picking exercise that I thought would be cool, right? This hat looks weird. Yeah, so many chord shapes. Now, these are all based on bar chord shapes. Okay, there's your caged C chord up here playing an E chord. Okay. Okay, close enough for rock and roll. It's my favorite saying. Yes. All right. Shorter stretch. That's good. Cool. All right. So yeah, there it is. That one again, just using double stops just to harmonize a melody, right? It's pretty much based on the vocal melody from the chorus of that particular Mr. Big song. And just played really nice, harmonized, using some open strings to outline the chords underneath, right? All right, thought we'd get into a blues shuffle kind of exercise now. Got to do something with the fingerstyle blues, right? So didn't really keep a bass motion going on this. I think the more sort of idea of this one is, kind of playing with the shuffle feel, okay? So here I've got the index, middle, and ring fingers on the top 3 strings. Thumb is on the low string. So I'm starting off with an open E7, hitting that low string with the thumb. Index finger is just going to hammer on from the open G to the 1st fret. And then you're going to get the 3rd fret of the B, open high E string. And what that does is it gives you an E7 sound, right? That's kind of what we're playing off of. You got to think about this rhythm, okay? It's a shuffle blues, okay? So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. Second bar, A7. So you can just bar down at the second fret of the D, G, and B string. I've got the third fret of the high string adding on. And again, just keeping in that rhythm. First one is thumb and the third string up top. Then with your thumb, you're going to get the third fret of the low string, bluesy bend. Just give it a little bit of a, okay? And we're going to repeat back to the E chord, but with a different lick. So this time, a little variation. Cool little lick, always works in the context of the blues. First the thumb on the low string, and then sliding from 2 to 4 on the G. Third fret on the B once again, and the open high E string, but now you're on the fourth fret here. Then fourth bar, getting that open B7 chord, and just doing the same picks as what I did for the A7. And again with the G note, third fret of the low string, a little bit of a bend on it, and back down to an E7. Just do a nice little strum right there with the thumb. Okay, there you go. A little bit of blues for you, right? Fun. So key thing for that is just making sure you have the right feel. 1 and 2 and 3, that bounce. And that's what you want to build into the fingers a little bit. Okay? Cool. Doug's asking about Jim Croce. I'm slightly aware of Jim Croce. I don't really know any Jim Croce. I should probably Jim Croce. I should dig in. Absolutely. Yeah, good suggestion. I'm going to have to. So we got ABBA and Jim Croce on the. And look at that, America. That's another great band for some finger picking, right? So we got those guys on the docket coming up in future sessions, right? Okay, cool. Exercise 6, folk pop melodic finger style. So I was thinking a little bit of a Van Morrison song, and it's definitely got a melody weaving throughout basically just 2 chords, D and then G. Okay, go something like this. Let's see if I can play this. Whoop. There we go. That's what we want. Okay. All right. So what do we got? So we've got this melody playing off the D chord. Okay. Doug, absolutely. Talking about Glenn Campbell and Roy Clark, forget about it. Masters, absolute masters. I mean, come on, check that stuff out for sure. So you want to try and ring these notes out as best you can. Okay, so you've got this melody playing while the D root is ringing out. Like that. And then just going up sort of to this upper part of a G bar chord shape, but I'm not actually going to pick the major third. It's just the third fret of the top 2 strings with the G note root, 5th fret of the D. Okay, and that first one is with the thumb, with the root. And then back down to the D chord. And then a little bit of a lick here, sliding like second to the fourth fret of the D and adding the third fret of the B string. Just a really simple but effective way to highlight that D chord. And that shape, if you've ever seen this D chord with the C chord moved up 2 frets, that's where those notes are sort of coming out of. Okay? And Tommy Emmanuel, of course, forget about it. Okay? Unbelievable, right? If you don't know who Tommy Emmanuel is, check it out. YouTube, get on it. It's amazing, amazing stuff. Okay. So those are the first 2 chords, and then we repeat that on the D chord, same melody. And then I'm going to come down. This time, 3rd fret of the low string for the thumb. And then coming down those notes, open B, open D, open G. And then just grabbing basically a D power chord, open D string, 2nd fret of the G, 3rd fret of the B. Plucking all that. And then classic, almost R&B-ish kind of fill right there. Bar down at the 10th fret of the top 2 strings, which is the upper octave of this. Okay, you're doing it up here. And so I think last week we were working on some sliding stuff. So you want to work on being accurate and quick so that the notes don't die out, particularly on the acoustic guitar, right? You with me? Everybody with me? All right, all right. Absolutely. Okay. Down to the last couple. We're getting through it. All right. Time for a lozenge, everybody. All right. So kind of speaking of that whole Tommy Emmanuel, Chet Atkins kind of thing, right? I decided just to sort of tackle this intro of a famous kind of old-timey song, Mr. Sandman, Bring Us a Dream. Thanks, Erica. So what you've got actually is that you could play this. That's sort of the notes, but we've arranged it in a way to take advantage of the open strings where we can. It makes it a little more challenging to play, but it sounds a little more pleasing. So let's see if I can do this. It's still tough. You gotta work that because it's really unnatural. First part of this is an A major 7, 7th fret of the D, 6th fret of the G, 5th fret of the B string, and then the 4th fret of the high string. That's your major 7th note, right? So you're just kind of going up there. And then you're going to want to put down 7th fret of the B, 6th fret of the G, and 7th fret of the D string. And then what you have to pick is the B string and then go up to the high string, but then come down with the index on the G and then down with the thumb. Okay, so and the next part. Okay, next part's off B minor, 4th fret of the G, 3rd fret of the B, 2nd fret of the high string. And then ending off with an E7, outlining an E7, sort of, that D7 shape up 2 frets. So you got the 4th fret of the high string and the G string, 3rd fret of the B. And you just kind of pluck that, right? Fun one. I thought that'd be a fun one to throw in to this one, right? challenging. It's challenge. I still can't really play it fluently, even at that sort of slow speed, just because that's a little bit unnatural doing that. This part. Okay, that's a fun one, right? Nice. Everybody talking about Tommy Emmanuel and Chet Atkins. Love it, love it, love it. All right, cool. Keep the questions coming because we're ripping through this last part of it. And so we'll have some time at the end, barring any complete coughing fit meltdowns, which surprisingly I've managed to stave off here for most of this session, which is good. Thanks, HH. I appreciate that. Kind words. Okay. Last one. I always end off the finger picking session with some sort of Travis picking workout. Okay. So we're going to start off with an open A7. And so you're going to start off with plucking it. And by the way, each bar on this Travis picking one is got the same finger picking pattern. Okay. And it's the same strings. Okay. So once you get the finger picking down, you can start to work on the chord transitions. So what I recommend is if this is sort of new to you or unnatural to you, just stay on this A7 chord and just work on getting the fingers. Okay. So what you've got is you're holding it down sort of with the thumb, root fifth. And then it's up to your other fingers to add in the melody up top. And you're throwing those in between, so it's a little challenging. So that's the next part is you might want to just go over that. Okay, and just add little chunks at a time as you get used to it. Once again, just sort of the smaller chunks. So if you work on that, put it together a little bit, now introduce the chord changes. And so what I actually did here was I'm just moving up notes on the D and B strings using these sort of sixth interval shapes, which I've talked about before on this session. Okay? So one more time. So all we're fretting and all we're moving is on the D and the B string. Okay. All right, next part. Just going to grab this root 5 bar chord. Okay, it's a D major, starting with the root 5th fret of the A string or the 5th string, barring down 7th fret of the D, G, and B. Okay, so we're still finger picking the same pattern between the A string and the B string. Okay. What you can see is in that next bar, I'm pulling the 7th fret off and I'm just going to hold down the 5th fret bar. So when you speed it up and alternate between these two, it sounds like this. Really cool. So put it together, sounds like this. Rusty, I appreciate that. That's so nice. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. That's very nice. All right. Cool. Yeah. So you can expand upon this, right? I was thinking of even going a little bit further with this chord progression, going up to a G chord and then. Right. So let's say. So what I did was I went to a G major bar chord, root on the low string, 3rd fret. Do the same finger picking pattern, but now I have to adjust the thumb, alternating between the root, which is now on the low string, and then back up to the D string. Right? And then I went to a minor. It just sounded nice to go to G minor there, so that's what I did. So. Right? Experiment. Have fun with it. Okay? We got some questions. Stairway to Heaven. Kind of like Stairway to Heaven a little bit, I guess. Chet Atkins, another master. Merle Travis. Yes. Travis picking. Absolutely. Okay. Russ has got a question. Some other tips for ear training as far as chord progressions. I'm familiar with the circle of fifths, but struggle with some songs in finding the chord progressions. Some come more naturally. Yeah. It's just experience. It's just keep at it. Keep trying to do it. Okay. If you know your chord sets in a certain key, that can give you clues to figuring out the chord progressions, right? What was that? Excuse me. Yeah, you want to, if you know your chord sets in a key, right? Like, so if you know in any key, for example, the key of C, there are 3 major chords and 3 minor chords. And if you know how they're positioned with the roots within the scale of the key you're in, right? That's very helpful because you can make educated guesses. And you can also, excuse me, starting to lose it here, guys. You can start to, try to figure out the bass notes of the chord progression that you're hearing. And if you've got some sort of software, or if you're on Guitar Tricks, or if you're on YouTube, you can slow it down and slow down that progression and try to find the root notes, and then try to find the quality of the chord, right? Major, minor, okay? And a lot of times, just doing it over and over and over and over, you'll get better and better and better at it. And then you'll start to be able to hear stuff without even a guitar near you. You kind of could just pick out stuff, okay? So that's sort of the ultimate goal of it all, but just keep doing it, okay? You're doing it the right way. Other things that help, ear training, as another ear training tip just for you, is find those YouTubes, or I think we do have something on Guitar Tricks like this, an ear training video where you have to pick out the intervals between 2 notes. For example, like, right? Can anyone hear the sound of what that is, or this one? Okay. You should be able to pick out what that interval is. That's a major third. That's a minor third, right? That helps too. So I would highly recommend that. Find some ear training type videos on YouTube, and there's lots of techniques and things you can do to work on that. Okay? Hopefully. Russ, keep at it, okay? And thanks for the kind words. There's Doug Smith. I like Mr. Sandman and Enter Sandman. I actually thought that when I was learning Mr. Sandman, when I was putting it in. That'd be funny mashup, right? I do like that. Oh, yes, Nikki the dog, totally off topic, but how's that highway song coming along? Well, we shot it a couple weeks ago now. We shot the song. It was a little bit challenging to get through it, but we did it. I think it's going to rock. It'll hopefully be on the site in a couple months. And that's where we're at with it. It was challenging to learn. It's sort of like, if anyone knows, if anyone doesn't know, Highway Song is a song by a band called Blackfoot, which is sort of a southern hard rock band. And they had this song, Highway Song, sort of like a Freebird type of song, where there's like a 5-minute solo at the end of the song. There's actually tons of solos all the way through the song, but it culminates in this final big lead guitar jam. So it was really fun to learn. It was a lot to learn and a lot to teach, but I think we did a great job on it. So it should be up soon, hopefully. Doug, can you give an example of the pinch technique when it comes to picking? That seems like a technique used often. I will do that next week on the electric. Let me grab a pick here, though, even though this is finger picking, right? Hard to get those to ping out on the acoustic, okay? But that's what you're going for, okay? You got to choke up on the pick, okay? And so when you strike with the pick, you want to follow it up with just a little bit of flesh from your thumb. So when you're choked up on the pick and you kind of flick the wrist a little bit forward so you get that thumb on it, you get sort of this artificial harmonic is what it's called. You get these higher overtones depending on where you place the pick here. You hear how that pitch sort of changes depending on where you're doing that. That's the short version of it, but I actually, excuse me, did do on the Guitar Tricks channel, if you look for it, do a search for it, I did do a tutorial on pinch harmonics. So check it out, pinch technique. Going to take some of the old lessons over again. You may absorb more. Great strategy, Erica. I highly recommend that. Particularly when you're at a higher skill level and you kind of go back over some stuff, you'll be surprised at sort of how much that maybe you might not have fully absorbed. And that now that you've got like a higher skill set, it's a lot easier to absorb it, or it makes sense or whatever. So love that. That's awesome. Glenn B, right on. He'll be watching later. Excellent. Satellite of Love by Lou Reed. Ooh. For a tab. I don't know. I've never heard that song before, but sounds interesting. We'll have to check it out. Unfortunately, we do not have any Lou Reed on Guitar Tricks, I don't think. But Eddie's talking about Nothing Else Matters, right? That's a good one. That kind of thing. That's good practice too. Maybe I'll put it in volume 9, okay? Excellent. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Would love some help with the inversions sometime. Jim Gregory, we'll do that. Next week, we're doing some, back on the electric, we're doing some rhythm styles, and I'll make sure we got lots of different inversions, and we'll talk about that. So yes, absolutely. Dennis, thank you. Appreciate it. King 50, thank you. And thanks to everybody for hanging in tonight. I've gotten through it. I can't believe it. So, awesome. Thanks. Thanks so much, Gerald. I appreciate that. Okay. Theodore, thank you. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Yes, Ricky Medlock was in the original carnation of Lynyrd Skynyrd. True story. Ricky Medlock went on to form that band Blackfoot. He went back to it before Lynyrd Skynyrd became sort of the Lynyrd Skynyrd, right? So, interesting fact for sure. And now he plays in Lynyrd Skynyrd. All these years later, he's actually in the band now. So there you go. Terry's excited for Highway Song. All right, killer. Thank you so much, Doug. Thanks, Zane. Zane, thank you. Jim Gregory, thank you so much. Thank you, Erica. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging tonight. Great questions, as always. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Have a great into next week. We'll be back on the electric next week for rhythm styles, volume, whatever it is. All right. Take care, everybody. Cheers. See ya.